I see a little education. Why are we all black behind us? What's going on with our TVs? They're all off. Ladies, did you break my television sets?
Pas moi.
No, you know what? You know what it is, Gayle and Jane? It's just you're so vibrant. We don't need any other lights besides your glow here.
You are a silver tongue devil,
aren't I?
Yeah.
Gayle, Manley, and Jane. Vienneau.
Oui.
Merci.
Très bien.
Yeah, bienvenue. Ladies are from the Zonta Club.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us, Gayle, you've been with the Zonta Club longer, right?
No, you're practicing, are you?
I'm practicing?
Are you?
What?
Are we on?
No, we're on.
Oh, hello.
It was that easy,
world.
Gayle.
Hello, world.
This is how comfortable I am when I go on television. You don't even know you're here.
Oh, no.
How long is what's the history of the Zonta Club? You have a little background for me?
Well,
I mean, I've heard of it.
It's an international organization.
Oh, okay.
It started in 1919, so we're heading up to our 100 years.
Holy smokes!
I know.
And
You
celebrating
look good
40
for.
I know, not
How many
bad
are
for
you, Sue?
40.
40.
We just
I wished I
celebrated our
were.
40th.
Fantastic. Okay, so what was the whole point?
Well, I think probably it had a lot to do with professional women in leadership positions at that point.
Even back in 1919.
Well, think about that was around the time when the vote happened,
Suffragette.
right? Suffragette.
Michael, stop putting the TV on behind us. I'm having a nervous breakdown with all these images.
So some of the early ones, like Amelia Earhart, was one of the.
She was
Yeah.
a member of Zonta?
Yes, Zonta International. Yeah.
That's so cool. And so the idea of women taking control of women's issues, right?
Yes, right. So 1919 started in Buffalo, New York.
It would have been like suffragettes and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty.
What a history. Now, how long have you been with the organization, the local chapter? Is it
12
called a
years.
chapter?
It's called a club.
The local club. For you, 12 years?
12 years.
And what about for you, Jane?
5.
5 years. So what brought you to Zonta? What was the attraction for you?
Gayle.
Oh, well, I can see that she's a magnetic personality. TV sets break around her. She's
Yes, that did happen, didn't
your
it?
force field.
And actually, for me, it was an invite from someone I knew, Kitty Buchan.
Right
so,
on.
Yeah.
And so what sort of work does Zonta do in the community? What sorts of, how do you decide? You support a host of local charities, right?
Well, we have a lot of service projects.
A lot of service
that we're involved in. We have breast cancer pillows. There's a social group in our club that makes breast cancer pillows for the women at the Sioux area hospitals.
Sewing? Yeah.
You sew them?
Yeah.
And we're involved with the Days for Girls project. And they make reusable menstrual kits to send to young women in
Third world countries.
Yes. And also, we have some local kits here.
Do you?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Giving them away.
So now, this is ovarian, the reason you're here today
Yeah.
is to speak specifically to Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, right? Which is why we're wearing our teal ribbons,
And our teal
your
shirt.
teal shirts, and then we've got this beautiful poster over here. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. So we're wrapping up the end of the month. What sorts of awareness raising have you been doing throughout the course of the month?
Well, in September, we tie one on downtown.
Tie one on. Oh, when you go down the street
Down
post.
Queen Street. Yeah,
The
we
teal
have
ribbons?
teal ribbons on the trees on
signs?
Queen Street, along with the signs.
The signs.
And this year, we've kicked it up a notch where each of our members have taken one of those signs and put it in their front yard. So we have 37 neighborhoods represented in the city, so that people can further become aware that the teal ribbon means that it is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month.
And ovarian cancer is one of the scariest out there.
Indeed.
And we all have connections to ovarian cancer. Gayle?
So my mom, it was interesting because my mom had ovarian cancer, but it was found, of course, after, when it was too late.
Okay.
So she was 86 at the time, and I remember she was failing and went into a nursing home in the Burlington area. And at the time they said to me, well, you know, we have palliative care here. And I said, I'm sorry, what do you mean? They said, well, she has ovarian cancer. My mother never told me, but I started to think back, and Mom had frequent bouts of constipation, and that's one of the signs. But there you go, eh? Like, it's one of the signs, but
It's also a sign of having a flu.
Exactly.
You know?
Or like I know that, if she'd gone to the doctor, she wasn't keen on ever going to the doctor. My mom felt no news was good news, so don't go to the doctor.
Okay.
But, you know, they would say, well, you are 86, you just take some
something to
Metamucil or
firm up
whatever.
your stool or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
or stop
yeah.
the cramps, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What about for you, Jane?
A dear friend of mine, Lori, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in May 5 years ago, and she passed away 2 months later.
Oh, 2 months after diagnosis?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course you do.
Yes. Well, Sue Barber passed away 2 years ago,
Yeah.
ovarian cancer, and we were doing the show Hello Dolly at the time. She was starring as Dolly Levi, and she was singing and dancing, and
It was amazing.
she was incredible, and she had a corset that she was wearing for the show, and it was getting more and more difficult for her to get into that corset, and she was feeling a lot of discomfort, but didn't really figure it out until it was once again too late. Part of the problem is there's no screening. Is that right?
No.
Yes, yeah, no screening. A lot of people think, for instance, that it's, you know, the PAP test is a screening for it, but it's not. It's for
cervical cancer.
Cervical cancer, right. And I mean, we would love to get the research to the point where there could be a screening, you know, a screening test for it.
Because they've made so many advances in other forms of cancer treatments or even early diagnosis. I mean, all the campaigning they do for breast cancer awareness, about self-exams, about mammograms and all that sort of stuff, and what to look for and be aware of. So we do have some what to look for, some symptoms of ovarian cancer. Should we go through the list just so that, I mean, it's... you really need to, I think what I've heard from doctors is you need to be in tune with your body. And I think also you have to self-advocate. So if someone tells you, I mean, you've heard the stories, don't worry about it, it's just this, it's just that. If you know that there's something that's not right, you need to stand up for yourself, right? And tell your doctor, no, I'm not accepting that diagnosis.
Yeah, we had a good friend of Zonta, Julie Doyle, who worked at the bank here in town, and we have a video clip of her that we did through Shaw, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
And Julie, that was Julie's two things. She said, know your body and be persistent.
Be persistent. So bloating, pelvic or abdominal pain, difficulty eating or feeling full quickly because the tumor is now taking up room, right? Urinary symptoms, urgency, frequency, and urgency. You mentioned your mother, changes in bowel function, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, indigestion, and flatulence. There you go. You're passing gas more than you think. And it may be more serious than just having too much salami.
Yeah, well,
right?
that's just it. Like we do a workshop called Knowledge is Power, which I'd like to talk about in a few minutes. But one of the things when we do that in the workshop, we say, if there are women present, how many of you have had that? Well, all hands go up, because those are vague symptoms, often what accompanies all of us at some point in our lives. But the key point is this: if the symptoms last for more than 3 weeks and they're new, so if you know you always get flatulence when you eat mushrooms, then that's one thing. But if this is something that persists for 3 weeks and it's new, then you should go to your doctor. And
menstrual irregularities, that's a pretty obvious one, I would think. If you're any woman who's having irregular periods should investigate, right? Yeah. Weight gain, weight loss, or fatigue, and that was one of the things that Sue found. Fatigue. So what was it you were going to mention? That one thing you said I'll talk about later.
We have there are about 10 of us in Zonta who have been trained in something called Knowledge is Power. It's a 1-hour free presentation that we will do for any group. We've done them for a number of church groups, women's groups. We've done some public ones as well.
The Status of Women
Committee for the elementary teachers, and they can actually, all they have to do is, we've got a poster here, but let us know. So either contact Ovarian Cancer Canada or myself.
Ovarian Cancer Canada, they can find online at ovariancancercanada.org. So that's pretty straightforward. Or you could just Google Ovarian Cancer Canada, and you're going to find their website for. And then the Zonta.
Actually, that's a great. The Ovarian Cancer Canada website's great. Lots of things for people who have cancer, but also.
And to find you guys, Facebook, Zonta, right? You're on Zonta Club on Facebook.
Yeah, and people could message us, and I'm actually going to put this up shortly again as a reminder, because it's free and we can adapt. So if a club says we only have 20 minutes time, we can do it in 20 minutes.
Gayle and Jane, thank you so much for being here this morning. We still have some of the month left, so be aware of ovarian cancer. This is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and we'll be right back with Lou Ann on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim.
Thank you.
A pleasure.